Welcome to the Summer Hire Training Makeup Session. I am Gia McMillan, Senior HR Generalist, along with Julian Smart Ripple, Training Specialist, will present today's session. Today, we will provide an overview of policy and resources, and these will be relating to the objectives that you see before you: attendance and arrival, dress code, harassment, code of ethics, pay cycle, reporting child abuse, know your boundaries, supervision, and positive discipline. Throughout the training, if you would like to ask questions, feel free to type in your question on a comment section inside of the video, and we will answer immediately. All right, let's begin. We're going to start off with attendance and arrival. Each of you have been granted access to our time and attendance tracking system called ADP. So for non-exempt summer employees such as you must record the hours that you work each day into ADP. You must properly record all hours worked by signing in when you begin work and signing out for meals, personal business, and at the end of your workday. Both you and your supervisor must certify that the hours recorded are accurate. Failure to properly record time will result in discipline. Falsifying hours worked is cause for dismissal. You are also required to provide notice of absence for illness, tardiness, or other reasons to your supervisor unless absence is due to pre-scheduled leave, such as vacation leave. However, keep in mind only eligible permanent part-time employees have access to vacation leave. If you need to be absent from work, you are required to contact your supervisor on a daily basis at least 1 hour before scheduled work time. So again, as a reminder, you must sign into work when you arrive to your work site. You cannot access your mobile device to enter your time worked. If you do not have access to ADP, please notify your supervisor immediately after this training. Next, we'll discuss dress code. For dress code, there is a particular dress code that you will have while working in a club this summer. If you see before you, you have some examples. One is the summer t-shirt that you all have been given, and then khaki pants. However, you can also wear dark blue, navy slacks, shorts, or skirts. And in addition to that, khaki shorts or skirts. If you work in the health and PE area, you may wear wind pants. As far as shoes, you can wear loafers, boat or deck or athletic shoes, or dress shoes. Now, the dress code that I just described is for Monday through Thursday as it relates to your bottom, either pants or skirt or shorts. As for Fridays, you can wear jeans. However, your jeans cannot be torn or frayed, but we'll discuss that further in the next slide. Next, we'll go over some items that are not acceptable for all employees. Clothing that works well for the beach, yard work, dance clubs, exercise sessions, and sports contests, including leggings. These are not acceptable to wear. Clothing that reveals too much cleavage, the back, chest, stomach, or undergarments, torn, dirty, wrinkled, or frayed clothing. So this goes for jeans as well. We do know that the distressed jean look is the current style. However, those are typically frayed and torn, and so therefore you cannot wear them on Fridays. You can wear regular jeans or jean shorts. Clothing with words, terms, or pictures that may be offensive to others, flip-flops or dirty boots, torn, frayed, or whitewashed jeans, which is what I already mentioned, basketball shorts or cotton warm-ups, dresses or skirts more than 3 inches above the knee. And this will go for shorts as well. Please note at the bottom of this screen, in regards to tattoos and jewelry, you would have to refer to page 20 in the BGCMA Employee Handbook. There is an employee handbook available to you at your club location, and we will also have the summer handbook, which has been provided to your executive director, which you can get a printed copy of that as well. Next, we'll discuss the harassment policy. The Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro Atlanta is committed to a work environment in which all individuals are treated with respect and dignity. You have the right to work in a professional atmosphere that promotes equal employment opportunities and prohibits discriminatory practices, including harassment. Therefore, BGCMA expects that all relationships among persons in the office be businesslike and free of bias, prejudice, and harassment. And when we say office, we are referring to the club, because the club is your office and your professional setting during your workday. Additionally, BGCMA will not tolerate any form of harassing conduct that is based upon an individual's race, color, religion, sex, age, national origin, disability, marital status, veteran status, sexual orientation, or other protected status. If you have any questions regarding harassment, feel free to contact your supervisor or a human resources professional. BGCMA Code of Ethics. You do not have the right to remain silent. So this is in reference to ethical issues that you see here, or in reference to harassment that you either have a perceived experience or you have seen occur. You do not have the right to remain silent. You must report. However, if you are uncomfortable with reporting in person or to your supervisor, you can report anonymously. At the bottom of this slide, you'll see that if you do not want to report to your supervisor or to Missy Dugan, who is our president and CEO, or to Human Resources, you can report anonymously by calling the ethics line at 1-855-297-5110 or visiting the website listed here. Just to show you a little bit what the website looks like, the next slide gives you an example of this. It shows you that you can file a report, and on the left side of this screen, you'll see where the mouse is circling. You can file a report simply by clicking on this blue square. If you have any questions regarding the ethics hotline or going to this website, again, feel free to reach out to HR. Now, the next slide is what you all have been waiting for, and some of you all have already experienced your first paycheck. So for your paychecks, if you look inside of the chart, your first pay date would have been June 15th for those who have worked from May 28th to the 31st. For those who have subsequently worked from the 1st to the 15th, your next check will be June 29th, and then July 15th, July 31st, and then the final check will be August 15th. Just ensure that if you selected direct deposit, that the information that you provided during your pre-employment process is still accurate. And if you have changed bank accounts, you must notify immediately. You can also change it immediately through a self-service function inside of ADP. However, please ensure you have the accurate routing and account number. The next slide, we will discuss the child abuse reporting. Part of your onboarding, you all were required to take a training called Mandated Reporters. And when you were going through this training, you received a certificate basically saying that I understand what my responsibility is with under Georgia law as being a mandated reporter. If you think a member is a victim of physical abuse, neglect, sexual abuse, or sexual orientation, you must report. If a member discloses something to you or you suspect abuse, do not investigate the situation. Your responsibility is to report it to your executive director no later than 24 hours when there is reasonable cause of any suspected abuse. Don't worry about being wrong about the suspected abuse. There is only harm in not telling, as immunity is provided to reporters when the report was made in good faith and with concern for the child's well-being. If you suspect abuse, report it to your executive director or your program or team director as you see fit. So we're going to transition, and before we transition, we want to know if there are any questions. And again, you can ask these questions by typing in the comment section, and as some of you all have privately asked some questions and we have answered, but feel free to ask questions to the whole group so everyone can see the responses, especially because most people have similar questions. Okay, so now we're going to move forward to know your boundaries. Know your boundaries. Now, this isn't a new concept, and hopefully by now, if you've worked in a club, you've heard at the minimum of the terms know your boundaries. Your executive director, program, or team director may have already discussed these with you. You may have already signed a document basically going over, okay, what is know your boundaries? We're going to just give you a brief overview of this information. Know your boundaries. Unless authorized in advance, adult staff and volunteers should not hold hands with youth, tickle, hug, or kiss them, allow members to sit on their lap, or engage in other behavior that may be perceived as inappropriate. Grabbing of a child in a bullying or aggressive manner, curse or swear in any nature, engage in humor that degrades a person's race, ethnicity, gender, sex, body type, etc., date a member or parent or guardian of a member, take a member out of the club without permission, allow members in your personal vehicle, be isolated with the member on club premises when transporting a member or at any off-site club activity, initiate conversations with members about sexual matters, give members money or personal gifts, take from a child or parent or guardian any gifts, personal property, or money. These are things that you should not do. If a child or parent or guardian offers you a gift or something because they feel that you're doing a good job, just respectfully decline it, and then also let your supervisor know, especially if they insist. The best way to avoid allegations is to follow BGCMA policies. Keep in mind that innocent actions or behaviors can be misconstrued by others and can lead to false accusations. As we continue to go over boundaries, here are additional things that as an adult staff member that you should not do. Engage in off-site social activities with members, including meetings, telephone conversations, text messaging, social network. You can't don't become Snapchat friends, IG friends, or any of those things. Don't give the finger or stick out the tongue in a suggestive manner. Engage in negative discussions about a child's character, dress, behavior, etc. Talk down to a child about their appearance, sexual orientation, family members, etc. Use of harsh or hurtful language to embarrass a child. Always use positive discipline. And positive discipline will be discussed with you in later slides. Also, under boundaries, unless authorized in advance, again, and you being an employee, you should not use or possess tobacco, drugs, or alcohol, show a child adult magazines that are sexually explicit, gamble or play games for money, intentionally get inside the safe zone distance, which is about an arm's length, to escalate potentially volatile situations for the summer season, and the members are looking up to you all for guidance. All right. Now, there are some things under boundaries where, in some circumstances, there are some permissible actions. So we don't want you to feel as though that you basically can have any interactions. There are some interactions and there are some times where you have to escalate your interactions depending on the situation. So some of the permissible circumstances are listed below. When it comes to restraining a child, if you have to prevent a child from hurting themselves or others, or the child um, is acting in a certain manner in which you would have to restrain them, you first must give the child at the minimum 2 verbal warnings to discontinue the behavior. The executive director must be notified immediately. After control has been established, the executive director must notify the regional VP about the situation and send all relevant reports. Hitting a child only as a last resort in a defending situation of deadly assault to stop an attack and get out of the situation. The executive director must be notified immediately. The police must be called and the incident reported to the regional VP. Contacting parents or guardians. Only the executive director and program director are allowed to discuss behavioral issues with parents or guardians. And for those of you who have teen directors at your site, they can also discuss these issues with the parents or guardians. If you are having any type of behavior issues with the member, ensure you report to the respective executive program or teen director. Discussing or showing offensive or controversial materials, or bringing in speakers to present controversial or offensive topics. Only with prior approval of regional director of operations and having signed permission slips can you have these type of topics discussed or speakers present. Taking possession of personal items of club members. Items such as cell phones, gaming units, knives, weapons, etc., must be given immediately to the executive director for proper storage for pickup by the parent or guardian. If you have any questions regarding boundaries, just ask. And again, you can ask your direct supervisor, who is typically a program or team director, or you can also ask your executive director, and you can ask us in HR. And with contacting HR on this slide, you'll see we have 3 contacts. You have myself, who is Gia McMillan. You see my email address and phone number listed. You also have Tamara Harper, who is the Human Resources Generalist, and you have Jessica Urquhart, who is the Junior HR Generalist. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to either one of us and we'll be more than happy to help you. Any questions? And again, you can list your questions. If you have questions after the fact, something that pops up in your head later, you can feel free to, again, ask your supervisor, or you can ask us as well. If there are not any additional questions, just want to thank you for taking time to listen to this portion and to interact with us for this portion of the training. And next, we will have Julian Smart Ripple, who's the training specialist, and he will discuss the remaining objectives. Julian?
We're going to go back to the beginning because we had a few technical difficulties. This is your friendly host, Julian Smartrimple, the training specialist. We're going to be talking about reframing conflict and positive discipline in this session. Thank you all for listening. So positive discipline and also reframing conflict stems from SED, social emotional development. And SED, for those who may not have heard of it before, these are the competencies which enable people to understand and basically to manage their own and others' emotions in their social relationships and interactions. So we as adults, we know how important this is, even as adults, to be able to manage your own emotions and to also be able to understand who you are and your own emotions within you. And so we want to be able to transfer that into the youth that we're ultimately serving. So we're going to watch a quick short video on best practices or for using positive discipline in the club.
Part of maintaining a safe, positive environment means addressing challenging behavior as it arises. In this video, you will learn about positive discipline techniques and how they can help you address challenging behavior. Positive discipline focuses on positive points of behavior. It's based on the idea that there are no bad children, just good and bad behaviors. Positive discipline techniques are designed to avoid punishment and power struggles. Instead, staff strive to empower youth to make better decisions on their own. Here are some ways to use positive discipline in your club. Remember, youth just want to belong. They don't misbehave just to make your day harder. Like adults, children have basic needs that are important to them. Their behaviors are simply actions they have chosen to meet these needs. Your job is to help them choose better behaviors as they strive to meet these essential needs. Be kind and firm. You don't need to be mean to discipline youth, but you do need to be clear and firm. Youth don't need another friend to you. They need a role model. Listen without talking. Take the time to listen to what youth are telling you about a situation. This doesn't mean you won't discipline them, but it allows them an opportunity to be heard and for you to see the situation from their point of view. Yelling won't make youth hear you any better. In fact, it will usually cause them to either get defensive and yell back or completely shut you out. Set agreements in advance with youth input. Youth need to know up front what you expect of them. Don't assume members know how you expect them to behave. Create clear rules, and it's best to do this with input from youth. Go over the rules with youth on a regular basis. Be consistent in your expectations. See mistakes as learning opportunities. Remember, the goal of discipline is to solve problems and teach, not to make youth suffer for their misbehavior. Allow time for youth to cool down and reflect on their behavior. When youth are upset, it makes it harder for them to be rational about what's going on. Give them time to cool down and reflect on the situation so they can understand the what and the why. Expect improvement, but not perfection. Set small wins with youth. Do not expect their behavior to change overnight. When you notice small changes, verbally acknowledge the improvement. And if you say it, mean it, and if you mean it, follow through. This means do what you say you are going to do and be consistent. When you use positive discipline, youth learn and become more equipped for life from a system that promotes their responsibility and teaches them how to make good choices. Your challenges are.
And so hopefully you were able to see some of the great points in best practice usage of reframing conflict, aka positive discipline. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in the message board that you see, but we're going to move forward. And so some of the things that were covered in the short clip you just watched were showing how you can build ownership in coming to common solutions with youth. If you set agreements, this is the midway point of the summertime, you should be able to see who is following through with your standards, aka your agreements that you should have set in your program area, so that they know when they break agreements, they are going to receive a solution, which is also literally your way of reframing whatever conflict or discipline needs to be done. And so typically, if you haven't set agreements at this point in the summer, you can still take the opportunity to set what are your standards or your agreements for your programs, so that the last half of the summertime, it's smooth sailing, but they have to have ownership in what solutions are going to take place. Share the power. Withhold judgment. If you are someone that may have had a student that was referred to you by another staff saying that they're a troublemaker every time they come in their program area. Don't automatically think in a judgmental status to just basically say that they're going to be a troublemaker for you. Give them the benefit of the doubt, because you may be the saving grace that they need in order to shape up. So don't always judge in those situations. Get the facts about situations. I don't know how many times when I was in the club that we would sometimes listen to he said, she said from friends or from other people that are around them that basically are just wanting to add more fuel to the fire. But get the facts. Talk to the parties members that will be telling you the truth versus just wanting to defend or get their friends back. Also, discover common interests versus narrow positions. So if you get that one-on-one relationship with certain members, you'll gain their respect because you're wanting to learn more about them than just them wanting to participate in what you have going on. So build that common relationship throughout the rest of this summer if you have not already. Some principles to consider in reframing conflict. These are also things that you should have seen in the video. Approach conflicts as learning opportunities. We don't know the best way to handle every single member in the club, but you were able to see some best practices that you should try out to use it as a learning opportunity, just in case you may not get it right. Systemically teach a process for handling conflict. Again, this goes with trial and error, but you are able to, again, see which approaches work best with which age groups. And so use your judgment based off of that. Deal with each conflict on a situation by situation basis. And most of all, focus on learning by giving youth a voice. We don't want to just be the disciplinarian that always is wanting them to listen while we're talking. We have to be able to allow youth to speak up for themselves and to also even sometimes state their case or debate if they're not in the wrong or if someone else played a part in the situation, which we know they do play the blame game. But again, still give them an opportunity to share their voice, even if they still are going to receive the penalty of whatever they did wrong. If you have any further questions, again, this is Julian Smartrimple, the training specialist. We thank you all for listening this afternoon. Thank you all for being on this conference call. If you're listening in or if you've been able to watch, thank you for listening, and you could type in any other questions that you may have. We hope that you have a great rest of the summer and have a great rest of the week.